Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm Marco Gonzalez. Welcome to On the Couch Live. I am so glad you're with me today. What a beautiful day it is outside. The weather yesterday was nice and cool. I know we're heading for another warm up, but let's enjoy this fall weather while we can, right? I'm excited today to have my friend Fred Scarf joining us. And Fred has an awesome entrepreneurial background. He is an app developer, and I can't wait to talk to him about that. We met many years ago, and we'll talk about that as well and how that happened. So I believe Fred has joined, so let me bring him in.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Fred, how's it going?
I apologize. My cat decided to sit on my lap while we talk.
Hey, the more the merrier. No worries.
How
How's
are
it going?
you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a Sunday. It's kind of a chill day, which is always nice. How about you? You're up north right now. How's it going up there?
I am in San Francisco. It's very beautiful. Obviously the wildfires have been a little tumultuous, but things are good. It's today looks like a good day. It's a sunny day, so it's good.
Right on. And it's interesting. This is your very first IG live, so I'm thankful that you're doing it with me here.
I'm honored. I wouldn't want to do it with anybody else.
Ah, thank you, Fred. Okay, so let's take some of our viewers back just a little bit. And 12 years ago, I was reporting
Yes.
for KTLA, and I did a story, and you were in that story, and it was about a foundation you had created. At the time, it was called the Shiri Foundation, and it was for
Yes.
cancer patients who couldn't make it to their own high school prom. So you organized a special prom just for them. And that was
Yes.
you were, I believe you were 18 years old at the time. So tell me about how that foundation
Started,
started,
yeah.
kind of where it is right now.
Yeah, so when I was in high school, I had a really good friend um named Shiri, and she had cancer, and at the time, it actually seemed very beatable. And she beat it before. She had leukemia before, so she beat it before, so it didn't really seem like it was going to be fatal. And unfortunately, she lost her battle. And it was just very shocking. And I think one of the things that we were planning to do together was we wanted to go to prom. And initially, the idea of so I started charity. And initially, the idea was to just raise money for this type of cancer. It's called osteosarcoma. And I would grant write, I raised money, but it felt like that the amount of impact I was going to have with the amount of money that I raised wasn't going to be big. And so I wanted to do something that was very tangible. And that's when I kind of pivoted from just like fundraising for research to something that was very tangible and affected teens exactly like Shiri. And so that's how the prom started. It was called No Worries Now. I ran it for uh, I believe almost half a decade, and then the idea caught on to other nonprofits, and so there are still kids going to prom, which is wonderful.
Oh, that is wonderful. And gosh, it's like it was yesterday. I remember
It
that.
feels like that. It really does. I mean, it's kind of crazy. It feels like there's no chasm. I mean, it feels like it doesn't feel that long ago.
I, I know, I know. And the girl I interviewed, Amanda, in that story, do you have any updates on her and where she is? I mean, how did that turn out?
So I don't have any updates on Amanda. I'm not sure if you know this, but Sammy, who I believe you did interview, she unfortunately passed away as well. So I was very close with her. She passed away, I believe, in 2011. And but it's one of these things that it really just changes your whole perspective on life, and it really changes just the way you see everything. And I do think that like it definitely influenced me to get into tech, and I'm a techie
Yeah.
and to live in Silicon Valley and stuff because I really do feel like a lot of these things in the future will be beatable and preventable too.
Yes, yes. And I want to talk about your apps, but just finishing up with that story,
Yeah.
she was a beautiful girl, and my heart breaks to hear that she lost her battle with cancer. You know, I did put that story up in case people want to see that story from 12 years ago and a very young Fred. Um,
Very young Fred.
Very young Fred. It's on my,
Fred as a teenager, yeah.
yeah. It's on my YouTube channel on the Couch Live, so you guys can check it out there. Well, let's move on now to your app developing. I mean, you just released your seventh app. So you started at a very young age. How did you get into app developing?
Yeah, I mean, so it was kind of this very circuitous path where after I met you, I went to college. I was actually studying politics. I really kind of still had that need to change the world. And I just felt like I could make a bigger impact through technology. And at the time, believe it or not, Instagram just came out. This is like when Instagram like first kind of came out. So I started really, really early, and so I just felt like apps was going to be the future, and I just felt like technology would be the future, and I it really just sort of felt like it was like this like wanting to make an impact without wanting to have a headache. I was like, how can I make the biggest impact without having the fewest headaches? And I
Yeah,
felt like politics was just one giant headache, and I feel like app development, like it's sunny here, people are a little bit more, chill,
absolutely. And so the current app, you've done many, you've done some with memes, but the current one is called Stop Guessing, and it has to do with like your skin. Tell everybody about that.
Yeah, so it's actually funny. So I just launched a couple days ago, and I just read my first review, and everyone's like, "This app is fake."
What?
So I'll explain the concept. So
Okay.
the concept is that so obviously in tandem with being an app developer, I've done a ton of modeling and the Instagram and all of that stuff, and so I've modeled for a bunch of skincare companies, and um, and I just felt like, as someone who models, as someone who just is a consumer, I'm constantly guessing. And I just can't afford to guess. And I feel like no one is really the beneficiary of guessing. And so, what it essentially is it's a machine learning app. It's basically using something called artificial intelligence that scans your face, figures out what skincare ingredients you need, and then we send you that respective product. So the so in a nutshell, it's using machine learning to help you stop guessing through skincare.
Aha. And I've done it. It's interesting. You see the machine go, and then it tells you like the oily spots, and I mean it's interactive. It's cool.
Yeah, and it's also one of these things where it's what's interesting about it is that there's people who like I think really know a lot about artificial intelligence. There's people who know a lot about skincare, and I was kind of in this weird like in between place where I kind of like had access to really good people in the skincare industry and like the modeling industry, and then I also have access to um, really good, talented engineers and stuff. And so I kind of brought everybody together and did this the right way, and it's very fun.
Oh, awesome. And again, for people who are watching, it's called Stop Guessing, and it's in your app store now. And so let's talk about another one that you've done in the past that involved memes. What were some of the other apps that you developed?
Yeah, I mean, so that one was called Meme Your Photos. It was a very simple one. It was a meme making tool. So at the time, so believe it or not, there was like a time on the internet where memes were not like the dominant form of communication.
Wow.
So and so I wanted to create like an app where essentially like what memes do is as like someone who works in news, you have to get the story very quickly, and memes can do it like within 2 seconds. And effective communication, especially in the future,
Yeah.
I still believe is very important. So it was basically just a tool to help people make meme their photos, and so that one did really well. And I think that was really my first app where I got like thousands and thousands of downloads, which as an app developer is really exciting because the industry standard for your app is to get 0 downloads. so so that was like the first one that really I was like, oh my gosh, like I kind of had a simple idea and then I turned it into something that got in the zeitgeist, you know?
Oh, and it's interesting. Okay, so 7 apps, including that one, and obviously Stop Guessing. You're only 30 years old. I mean, we're talking, these are incredible achievements for somebody your age. And I kind of knew that way back when I interviewed you. I had told you before, there was something about you that I said, you know what? Fred's going to do big things just because of the way you were handling that foundation at the age of 18 years old. I mean, I could just see that in the story. So it's so exciting to see you, reach these monumental, things in your life. And something that is very interesting, Fred, is that you have this incredible following on Instagram. Okay, more than 450,000 followers. That's like almost 500,000 people are watching what Fred Scarf does. And
Yeah.
what I do love is that you take your social media presence and your philosophy on it, what you call the lucky charms of,
Yes.
and I love
Yeah. So
explain it to us.
yeah, so pretty much, I mean, I think it sort of goes to just kind of like, I mean, so I call it my lucky charm philosophy where and it's sort of like also my approach to apps and I think sort of everything else where I feel like I mean I so let me just like kind of back up for a second with Instagram. I started on Instagram. I was actually working with actors and working with people to promote one of my apps. It was called Irigami. And then someone in LA was just like, dude, you're in crazy shape. You should be on Instagram and you should be in front of the camera. And I was like, you think so? You think so? And so I sort of got out of my shell. I did it. I took some photos, then it kind of just like snowballed and just kind of worked with a bunch of photographers. And I think photographers naturally want you to like go to the max and they want you to push boundaries. And I still have my limits on like as someone who as someone who like pushes boundaries on Instagram and like does like underwear modeling stuff, I'm like I still hold my breath with a lot of it. But I do know like just as like someone who is like sort of like a business person, I do have this philosophy called Lucky Charms, which is that when you buy Lucky Charms, there's a lot of cereal and everyone just wants the marshmallow. And so don't give people cereal content, give them the marshmallow. And I think really kind of my punchline is just like don't meander. Like don't talk in circles. Just be like you only have 3 seconds to be in somebody's life. Make that 3 seconds worth it. And if it's like, and so that's why I think my social media is very produced and very intentional because I understand that I don't have everybody's time, and you have different layers of commitment from
Yeah.
different people.
And in talking about your social media, I mean, you put yourself, you're all out there. And I mean, you are. But it's nice to see that you have the confidence, and obviously, people are enjoying what they see because they're following you and commenting and whatnot. And a lot of the companies that you work with actually come to you and say, "Can you model my, mostly it's underwear, but other things." As well, so it's cool that they seek you out because obviously you're doing something right.
Yeah, and I think it's one of these things where I think like if I were to say like, it's sort of like chicken and the egg because the way the modeling industry worked is like when it first started, it was like basically like designers hanging out with like models. And like so like designers would be like, "Hey, like I am rolling out my spring collection, just come and model." And then these agencies started and they were like, "Oh, we can get involved and we can kind of be like the middleman and we can kind of like mediate this."
Mhm.
And then now with social media, the middlemen have kind of like started to like phase out, and a lot of brands are trying to find their own voices, and some of them are like, we just found some random person on social media who has like 40 followers, but they have the look we want. And then other people are like, we need numbers. Let's go for the highest numbered person. So, I mean, it's really interesting how I think social media has kind of changed the landscape and really kind of like, in many ways, democratized modeling.
Oh,
So it sort of emboldens me to just be like, just be yourself, take pictures that are fun, collaborate with people that are fun, and you'll attract the right people, and it will all work out in the end.
yep. And I love your positive view on life. You always say, if you're not loving what you're doing, then why are you doing it? We've talked before about that. So tell people because I find that very inspiring. And for a lot of people watching, they're struggling with so much right now with COVID-19 and not being able to see friends. So you
Yeah.
living for the moment.
Yeah, and it's also funny because I was actually thinking about it. I was thinking about and I think that one of the things, like, and I think there's like, I guess, two things in my mind, and I was thinking about this as I was rolling this app out,
Yeah.
is that one is like my whole thing is like, what is like technology's role in your life, right? Like, what is like the media's role in your life? Like, it should be a tool and it should help you, like, but then there's a second question, which I think No Worries Now and all these things have really kind of brought me to is just what is the good life? What is the media's role in your life? What is technology's role in your life? But then the other question is, what does that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow look like? And the thing is like I feel like that's really just up to you. And that's like, you get to choose. You can be like, the good life to me seems like, you know, modeling and then making a lot of money and then getting that Hollywood Hills home. Or there's like someone else, or there's like somebody else who's like, the good life to me is like I've like talked to friends who are like, I'm not that career driven. I'm more like, I'm just kind of cool where I am. And that's awesome. And so I think that for me, what I've learned is that uh, you're in charge of your own happiness. You choose what is good, and everything that like fulfills you is really just specific to you, which is uh, I think of great like California perspectives.
Gosh, that is so well said. I'm not kidding. I'm absorbing that. That is so well said. And you know what? I ignore all the people that are following us. We have many, many people that have joined us, and they're sending you waves. Somebody said, "Thanks for your live, boy." And we have people from other countries joining us too, Fred. So it's really cool because your reach is quite large, which is very, very cool. And
Yeah, and
with,
I'm sure this will get in blogs and stuff too.
oh, right on, right on. So with a political background, I'm just curious. We are in a political climate right now. What is your assessment of everything going on right now?
Yeah, well, that's actually a really interesting question because so I think what is interesting is about this, and I've thought about this a lot, is that I really think that what has essentially happened in my perspective is that I created my own major in college. So I actually just like went to college and was like, I don't know what to study. I'm just gonna have to create my own thing and write a thesis. And so I actually studied politics and technology and mushed them together, and it never really made sense to me until recently, which is that I think what is going on in the political environment is that technology has a role where essentially these algorithms have sort of like radicalized people's ideologies, where like let's pretend like you are someone who is really, really conservative and or liberal. Let's say liberal. So
Okay.
you're someone who's very, very liberal. Well, you go on like Twitter and you go on like Instagram and you go on like these social networks, and you're going to see things that will uh, keep you on the network, but more importantly, are being optimized to keep you on, and that ultimately kind of like makes people's ideologies more extreme because to answer your question, I think what's happened is technology has actually made people's political ideologies more extreme, and I think that has in turn kind of created more extremism uh, in politics, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I get it. And there's that show on Netflix. Is it The Social Experiment that is on right now?
Social dilemma, yeah.
Oh, Social Dilemma. I mean, that I hear the algorithms and I'm thinking of that show and how it made a lot of our eyes open a little bit. You know,
Yeah, and it's also one of these things that's kind of sad because I think that just given that we have an election coming up, that I feel like someone who has like essentially used technology to my advantage, used social media to my advantage, understands how it works, but then also someone who's a technologist and creates it. Um, I do think that like unfortunately a lot of what has happened with technology and just politics is that it's essentially um, uh, created more entropy than good, and that's kind of why I hope this app is. It's a very simple app idea, and it's just kind of like very direct and not really uh, trying to add more entropy into people's lives.
I get it. And again, Stop Guessing is the app. So what's next for Fred Scarf?
Yeah, so what's next is going to be this app. This app is coming out. So the iOS version is coming out later this week, and then I have a big update for it. And it is just going with this app. So I actually have been checking my analytics. I've been getting downloads. So it's exciting. It's very nerve-wracking, and I've been losing a lot of sleep because this is like it's a lot of work. But so just this app. This is kind of the main thing right now.
Right on, right on. Of course, everybody can find you on Instagram, along with the 450,000 people at Fred Scarf. He's there. He's all there. Awesome. Fred, it is so great seeing you again after
Thank you so much.
12 years. And I can't wait for you to come back on when you have your next app.
Oh gosh, thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. I'll see ya. Take
Take
care.
care.
Bye-bye. He is so intelligent. Oh my gosh. And I'm telling you, there was something about Fred when I interviewed him back in 2008. I knew that he was going to go far. Just a really, really cool guy. And you can see that interview I did with him back in 2008 from KTLA. It's on my YouTube channel, On the Couch Live. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Marco Gonzalez, and I'll see you next time right here on the couch. Enjoy your day.